Welcome back to the Garena Premier League Spring Season 2018. My name is Vulcan. With me is Chisto, your shotcasters entering the 5th game of the last day of the group stages. Kuala Lumpur Hunters versus Sovereign.
Yeah, and we just ended a marathon of a match, 50 minutes on Summoner's Rift between Mineski and Ascension. That was such an epic game, Vulcan, and in the end it was Mineski coming out on top. But yeah, like you mentioned, we are heading into the last game of the day between Kuala Lumpur Hunters and Sovereign. So I think after this we get to see who will face who once we head onto the playoff stage as we look at the standings here.
As we check the standings here, Ascension Gaming and Mineski, 3-1, both of them. But note that Mineski were the ones who took down Ascension for 1 point, and so far we'll see if ever the Kuala Lumpur Hunters take away 1 point from Sovereign. This will make everything interesting in the standings because it will be a single elimination tiebreaker.
Yeah, and looking at the Team Bigatron Esports, unfortunately, earlier today, they weren't able to pick up a win in the group stage. That means that they are out for playoff contention. As for the 4 remaining teams, MSI is such a big prize and everyone else is gunning for that.
What a run for Ascension and Mineski, same as for Sovereign, making it this far towards the last spot of the playoff stage. So, like I say, for Kuala Lumpur Hunters, if they take away 1 point, everyone in the top 3 team, Ascension and Mineski, will have even points. So this will make things rather interesting. But as for Bigatron Esports, this will be the end for their journey in the GPL. Their road to MSI will be for now postponed, but in the end, they can always come back stronger and challenge the other regions again.
Yeah, and I think for the upcoming match, Vulcan, between Kuala Lumpur Hunters and Sovereign, I'm pretty sure both Mineski and Ascension Gaming would want to watch this matchup because either one of these teams could potentially be their opponent headed into the playoffs, as we see the roster from Sovereign.
Arcalic, Ice Destiny, Shinsekai, and Maxim Liu and Krau will be playing for Sovereign.
Yeah, and of course, we saw earlier Krau on his Thresh, laser accuracy on those hooks. Let's see, will KLH choose to ban it out, because I really felt like he was popping off on that Thresh pick.
So let's see, maybe it will be removed in the drafting phase, but I guess everything will come onto play once we see the planning phase.
And here we're going to see the roster from the Kuala Lumpur Hunter: Shiro top lane, Caspiel jungle, Arhedge mid, Ozora, Veki AD carry, and what we just saw support.
So far, I gotta say, Caspiel's performance as the jungle for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. What a performance, because I gotta say, the Kuala Lumpur Hunters follow Caspiel like it's the main shot caller. Well, he is the shot caller for KLH.
Yeah, and of course, earlier today, Kuala Lumpur Hunters were victorious in their match versus Mineski, and a lot of that can be credited to the way that Caspiel played super aggressive on his Olaf pick, which was really the key in gaining that victory because of their aggressive play in the early game. As we jump right into the pick and ban phase, it's Sovereign on the blue side, so they have first pick and they have opted to deny the Jarvan from Caspiel.
Sovereign will now start on the blue side and KLH will be on the red side. Let's get straight to it. This is still patch 8.5 we're playing on, and I guess for KLH, they can eye out the jungle because for Sovereign, they're trying to ball it out. For KLH, they will remove the Azir.
Yeah, and so far, Vulcan, the trend that we've seen for majority of these teams are showing a high priority towards that Olaf pick, and we did mention there was a high priority. It will not be available for this upcoming match, so these junglers will have to jump on a different champion.
For Sovereign, they will remove the Olaf, one of the picks that can really counter a Sejuani due to the fast clear and also to go head-to-head with a Skarner. But for KLH, can they remove the Skarner? We'll see. And now they will respect the Thresh.
Yeah, earlier Kra on this Thresh really destroyed his opponents with the laser accuracy on his hooks. And KLH, it looks like they don't want to deal with that and they will deny this Thresh. As Caitlyn will be the final ban for Sovereign. We're just waiting on Kuala Lumpur Hunters to see what their final ban may be. There's still a lot of the popular picks available here, such as the Swain, which has been very popular throughout this GPL.
And I guess for the Swain that we saw in the match with Ascension and Mineski, what a Swain that was with the heal and the sustained damage. Do not underestimate the ultimate there. So it will be removed, but KLH will take away the Varus in the ban.
It looks like Xayah will be the priority pick here for Sovereign, so picking that up for Mexi. As for Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they're hovering over the Gragas here. They do have the option of picking the Rakan early just to deny the Lover's combo for Sovereign. It's still a question. It's still up in the air though, Vulcan.
So I guess for KLH, they are hovering between the Gragas or the Galio. And they will go and pick the Galio first.
Yeah, let's see though. That is the trade-off for first picking the Xayah. That means that Kuala Lumpur Hunters will lock in the Galio. And we saw during the earlier games, Galio is such an effective champion. So much wave clear in the mid lane. And just the pressure that Hero's entrance provides. Teams that can really utilize the Galio could really snowball lead from the early game, as the Shen will be secured here by Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Shen, of course, quite a flex pick here, Vulcan. We've seen him go both to the support role and to the top lane. Kuala Lumpur Hunters with the mind games here on Sovereign.
Yes, that's very true. The Shen has been flexed throughout the support role majority of the time, but there was one time in the game where we did see the Stan United coming from the top lane Shen, but looks like the Lovers duo still 6 through. It will be the Rakan and the Zac picked onto Sovereign side. This ends their phase 1.
Yeah, and I really like the first phase of picks here from Sovereign. There's a lot of power in these 3 picks. Look at the engage potential that they have. If you pair the engage from the Rakan and follow that up with the Elastic Slingshot, that's so much guaranteed seconds of CC onto the members of KLH. Now, the response will be the Alistar. Gonna try knock away either the Rakan or the Zac if these fights do start.
Compliments the Galliacom. Right now, the Camille is still open. We'll now go to phase 2 of the drafting phase. KLH will start with their bans.
Yeah, and looking at the picks that have come out here, I wouldn't be surprised to see Sovereign invest 2 more of their bans here onto the AD carry position, seeing as Kuala Lumpur Hunters haven't selected a marksman for their lineup. Sovereign would want to pinch that role.
Camille is still left open. We have yet to see a top lane for Sovereign, same as for KLH, because the Shen is still in question. Is this a top or is this a support? But for Sovereign, we'll remove one of Caspiel's favorite, the Nocturne.
Nocturne is actually an interesting ban here, Vulcan, because Nocturne did receive a few buffs, I think, to the duration of his ultimate time and the sustain as well on his passive. But yeah, it looks like no Nocturne here for Caspiel. Let's see though, the Swain, like we mentioned, rising in popularity, and since Sovereign still don't have a solo laner for their lineup, it will be denied here by the Hunters.
Last ban coming from Sovereign. KLH will pick right after this. So I guess our questions will be answered. Will this be a top lane Shen or will this be a support Shen? Because obviously it will be a support because the Alistar has been picked up. And I guess for Sovereign, they will invest all of their bans going into the ADC.
Yeah, and now Kuala Lumpur Runners, they need to pick up an AD carry on this rotation. I wonder though, what AD carries are available? There's the Ezreal. I wonder if Azorveki actually plays this champion. KLH are taking their time with their selection.
You can always maybe see one of the hyper carries that's rising popularity.
Okay.
It might be the... Yes, it's a lock-in to the Kai'Sa.
Okay, we did mention AD carries available. It looks like we get to see Kai'Sa, Vulcan, and this is the first lock-in of the newest champion added into the game for this GPL. So it looks like Azorveki, he wants to show us some new stuff here.
So looks like the more experimentation here. Camp Black was left open. Looks like will be taken away by Sovereign. And last pick, let's see. To final things up, a mid laner is still needed for KLH.
Something safe into a Galio. The Galio is practically a free lane for the mid laner here. Arikelik needs to pick a champion that can farm easily versus the Galio. Azir was denied from him, so I wonder which route he will go. There are things such as the Corki that will be effective. Vladimir, also very effective into that Galio matchup. Of course, there's really no world that the Galio can solo kill a Vladimir unless by some miracle Arikelik misplays really hard. But yeah, it looks like the mid lane here for Sovereign will be the Vladimir for Arikelik.
So this will finalize our phase 2 for Sovereign KLH. Now, last pick to see everything come together. It's going to be the...
They need the jungler, Vulcan.
Yeah, Sejuani. All throughout, the Sejuani was available. Now KLH will be picking up for Caspiel. Zac versus Sejuani in the jungle.
Yeah, it's a classic tank matchup, Vulcan. Since Olaf was banned, actually, the interesting thing here is Skarner was overlooked by both teams. Skarner is one of those junglers can really have that pressure, especially with his Impale. He isn't picked here, nor is he banned. It looks like the teams are going to go back to the tried and true, both Zach and Sejuani.
Well, looks like KLH is very happy to try out this new champion. Once we
I'm happy as well. I'm really excited to see what Ozorovecki can do on Kai'Sa, because I don't think we've seen that much Kai'Sa in competitive yet, as majority of the regions aren't playing on patch 8.5.
I gotta say, the faces of the KLH players just brings joy to my heart, seeing how they are very excited to try out this new champion.
I think it's the same face that all of us players make whenever we get to try the new champion. But yeah, I do believe you have played Kai'Sa, Volkan?
Nope.
We haven't tried her yet.
Nope.
I have played a few games on her, but yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how Ozorovecki performs on this pick, of course, as we head onto the Rift.
So far, this is going to be the last game of our scheduled matchups here for the group stages of the GPL. Once again, for Sovereign and for KLH, both teams still moving on to the playoff stage. It's more on the battle for seeding at this point, but for KLH, they do want to take away 1 point to try and tie things out.
Yeah, it's not just seeding, Volkan. There's also that sense where if you do come out with a win here, it builds momentum, especially towards the playoff stage, where instead of it becoming a best of 1, the series might become best of 5s, and you really want to be on a high note headed into playoffs.
Yes, very true. So I guess we'll be seeing them all unfold on the Rift, especially the Kai'Sa. That's very exciting because the Kai'Sa is now being shown here in the GPL. One better way to see how it's played by none other than Ozorovecki.
Yeah, I mean, most of the Kai'Sas I've seen haven't been that great. Yeah, and I think we will be heading onto the Rift very, very soon. We finally get to see the newest champion added to the game in competitive play.
This is going to be our 5th game. So, make a count here for the last 3 of the group stages before we move on to the playoff stage on Saturday.
And of course, waiting in the playoffs already, I'm pretty sure Mineski and Ascension both will be watching this matchup, because we get to determine who they will be facing off on Saturday.
They really need to look out for how Caspiel plays in the jump, because the fact that he's trying his best to render the enemy jungle useless, looks like we're seeing Sovereign taking some initiative.
Yeah, and you mentioned the fact that Caspiel can always make his matchup irrelevant. Looking at this matchup though, it is a Zac versus a Sejuani. Sejuani's not quite the Olaf, Volkan, where you can just constantly invade and just play super aggressively and shut down the enemy jungler. And Ice Destiny will always have that pressure, especially during the laning phase, where I think Zac is the most threatening, especially with Elastic Slingshot.
And I guess we'll see it once it happens, because when it comes to the Zac and Sejuani, they are mirroring each other's movements here on the minimap. So I guess it'll come down to a red start for Caspiel. May go straight towards the blue buff.
Yeah, and I wonder though, will Kuala Lumpur
Raptors.
Hunters invest a lot towards the bot lane? Because Kai'Sa as an AD carry can easily be shut down during her laning phase because of her lit range. She isn't that easy to get ahead, but if you do snowball on this pick, she can be very, very effective.
And it's more of, let's say, high risk, high reward scenario for a Kai'Sa. You have to go all in and you need to commit to that fight. What better support than an Alistar?
Yeah, commitment with the Alistar right there. And like you mentioned, Kai'Sa's playstyle is sort of that high risk, high reward design where you don't normally see a lot of AD carries have an ability that make them dive in front of the enemy team. So definitely high risk there. As we see the mid lane, this will practically be a farm lane for Arikelik. And RH will just be relegated to clearing the wave constantly. Galio does have a lot of wave clear in the Winds of War.
I guess it comes down to another lane for the Galio with a Vladimir matchup.
I think there are few windows where Arikelik can catch out RH here. He is running the Unsealed Spellbook, so he does have a bit of kill pressure with the Ignite. But I really don't think that both the Galio and Vladimir pose a threat to each other in lane unless the jugglers intervene, which you see here now.
Level 3 happening here. Elastic Slingshot will not connect. Taunt! Oh, does not connect. So I guess that will be a gang. Not successful for Caspiel.
Yeah, the pool was just long enough in this duration to last before the taunt did land as Caspiel. Did he actually steal that?
He did not steal it. It was a successful secure by Ice Destiny. Not only the main chicken, but also the little chicks.
I like how he described the Raptors, Wilkin. But yeah, it looks like Caspiel is just going back to his proactive ways. He's going down bot lane. but he was spotted by a ward.
May not go for the commitment there.
Now, I did mention that Vladimir does have a few windows where he can kill Arhedge. He needs to be careful here. The Galio can be flashed on, and since Arcalic is running the Ignite, he has to respect that.
And not just that, this Galio, Arhedge, is running the Electrocute, so gotta be careful with the damage out from the Winds of War, but at least when it comes to for the Ice Destiny's mid laner for Arcalic, at least he has the Ignite, has the kill pressure.
Yeah, I do think though that Arcalic would want to swap that Ignite for a teleport in the near future. Try to match the global pressure that Kuala Lumpur draft possesses, because looking at their lineup, they have the global from Shen once he hits level 6 and the hero's entrance as well. There are so many ways for the rest of Kuala Lumpur Hunter's team to impact the other parts of the map that it's incredibly scary for Sovereign to set up a play on a different side as, if it's not on the Shen or to the Galio.
Looks like when it comes to the matchup here, KLH trying to go for the invade, especially for Caspiel, still trying his best to see and scout out where the enemy jungler is. But for Sovereign, they have yet to secure some vision on their river side. We're not yet seeing any of the rewards happening yet.
Yeah, and what Caspiel is doing on the Sejuani, he's battle warding the Zac, because with the removal of Tracker's Knife, the junglers really don't get that much luxury as far as securing vision. So what they do is their champion acts as the ward, where you yourself will track the enemy jungler by fighting him in his own jungle. As we see, a headbutt full first combo, not really gonna amount to much. There's a lot of protection with the Rakan, as I don't think Caspiel was spotted by a ward.
It was pitch black, so yes, it's not spotted by the ward. The cooldown is rather long for the Q and W.
It should be up the moment that what the Jess walks up. The moment the Alistair step forward, they need to know something's up.
Flashes in with the cheese and the pulverized combo to the wall, to the stun, to the permafrost combo. That is the first blood.
I like how what the Jess pulled off that combo onto Mexi. That was so well played. He used headbutt onto a minion to close the gap and then immediately flashed on top of the side. The CC layering was perfect, and that's why KLH were able to secure first blood.
What a secure onto the ADC. Rather, the jungler, Caspiel, takes away the first blood. So I guess they may eye out this Rakan on their tower. 3-man dive strong, flashes away a bit too late. Cannon Barrage under the tower, did not connect to any members of KLH, still committing. Gets the last hit.
Well, that's one thing you could do on Xayah Vulcan. There's a lot of range on her W, and even through the minions, even with Ice Destiny practically beside Kra, he gets sniped. Well played by Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Kill score is 0-2 right after that brawl in the bot lane. What a snipe indeed, coming from Ozoroveki.
You know, what I'm really waiting for is once Ozoroveki hits that level 6 and gains access to Kai'Sa's ultimate, once we see her dash into those high-risk plays, I'm really excited to see that happen for this match. But so far, it looks like KLH trying to get this Kai'Sa ahead, because like we mentioned earlier, it's very scary if she does get ahead. It looks like KLH understand this, and they're making more plays towards the bot side of the map.
Trying their best to control vision here, especially to watch out for Caspiel. So far, trying their best to secure vision at this time. In the early phases of the game, they were not able to do that, and they suffered a lot. They have been giving the first blood and another kill, immediately putting KLH in control in the bot lane.
Yeah, and as far as the laning phase goes, it looks like since Ice Destiny hasn't been able to apply the same pressure that Caspiel has, the Hunters have been comfortable going for these aggressive moves. But until they start respecting the pressure coming from the Zac, I don't think they're going to be afraid to make more aggressive dives. Because looking at Sovereign's Realm, there's a lot of threat onto the backline of KLH. You can dive in with the Zac and the Rakan. But until you see it happen, I really don't see KLH respecting the fact that there is that threat available, as Shiro is getting fairly chunked.
Chunk tried to go for an outtrade there under the tower, wanted to get the aggro onto the gangplank, but in the end did not respect the trial by fire true damage. So that will be Shinsekai taking down Shiro in the top lane.
I also think Shiro was a bit too much hopeful there, Vulcan.
Guy coming in from Caspiel, sees the Rakan, goes into Arctic Assault, calls in the Galleon for the hero's entrance. No member gets started in the air. There's just by coming from the Xayah with the feathers, feather storms in and out. The stand united just in time.
Yeah, luckily enough, the Stand United was available just in time. Shiro, he was down, he was respawning, so I'm pretty sure Caspiel was playing on a knife's edge there. He's very lucky that he didn't go down. And it looks like KLH, they're so confident to go for these dives. We're still waiting for Ice Destiny to show up on this Zac.
When it comes to the Zac, he's trying his best to mirror the movements of Caspiel, but for KLH, they're winning the lanes here, so what can a Zac do?
He can be the first one to arrive compared to Sejuani because so far, wait up!
Oh god, slick moves and more moves coming from that Kai'Sa.
Oh, I like that, Vulcan. I love that dash in by Zoroveki. It looks like even though it wasn't that much of a risky move because there were no more threats onto him, but going back to what Ice Destiny could do, he was already on the way to track Caspiel movements. Unfortunately, he seems just one step too slow behind Sejuani. So if he's able to predict the movements a bit faster here and be the first to arrive to the ganks and pull off a great counter gank, that might be the way for Ice Destiny to get on the map, because so far, we're already headed 10 minutes into the game. The Zac still has no kill contributions.
So far, when the contributions did happen, for Ice Destiny could not really intervene that much. That's what we want to see with the Zac. But again, with the lanes winning in the side for KLH, especially in the bot lane, this is proving too difficult.
Yeah, and the thing here is, I think Zac as a jungler, he's way more threatening during the laning phase where not that much vision is set up. If you're able to lay down control wards, you can elastic slingshot from so far away. But top lane, it looks like Caspiel, he wants to make a play onto Shinsekai. Everyone from KLH is around the top side of the map.
Wow.
It looks like Ice Destiny has read this.
Oh god, trying to capture two members under the tower. Great job by Ice Destiny. Going onto the Galio and to the Sejuani. Blascone for the save.
And that's a great read once again by Ice Destiny. Earlier, he was just one step too close. It looks like he read Caspiel like a book there. He knew he was going to the top lane. And luckily enough, he prevents his top laner from going down, because that would have most definitely been a dive had Ice Destiny not been there.
Yes, and maybe a dive will happen here in the bot lane. Alistar looking for something here.
Now, they're too far away for what the Just to catch up. But speaking of catching up, if the Alistar was able to engage, Kai'Sa can instantly follow up with her ultimate. So that's one positive that they do have here.
Okay, look at that. So from the top lane, we saw how KLH were able to go in for a dive. But in the end, Sovereign intervened. Great job by Ice Destiny, I gotta say. With the kidnap there, very close actually to taking down two members.
Yeah, regardless of Ice Destiny not having any kill participation so far in the game, I like the fact that he's still able to respond to Caspiel, because we've credited Caspiel for being such a proactive jungler throughout the game and really the catalyst for his team to set up plays. And the fact that Ice Destiny can match him and shut down the plays is such a big win for Sovereign.
Alright, 12 minutes closing into the game here. And I gotta say, this Gambler stacking up the gold really quickly, because 98 to 76 CS plus the Silver Serpent's passive.
It's actually a very early Triforce.
Yeah, very early actually.
Only 12 minutes into the game, especially Gangplank with the Kleptomancy. He can easily get towards his core items. But man, for Sovereign here, the late game is really looking scary, especially for their lineup where they have so many options to deal damage. Look at the Vladimir, look at the Zaya, look at the Gangplank. As for KLH, the only member that's really gonna deal realistic damage towards the later parts of the game is Zoroveki on this Kai'Sa. He is sitting 2-0-1 at the moment, but it's slowed down. It isn't snowballing out of proportion. So Sovereign are doing a good job of containing the bot lane of Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Especially for Sovereign, they're trying to match the movements from Caspiel all the time, seeing how it's being mirrored a lot by Ice Destiny. But I gotta say, KLH still wanting to go for more. Still want to push back Sovereign to make sure that they're in control.
Yeah, and I think at this point of the game, KLH would be more incentivized to have the initiative as far as starting fights. I think Sovereign are pretty happy that the pace of the game has slowed down, because there's a lot of options on their team. If they do scale, like I mentioned, the damage options will be too much and practically overwhelming for KLH, because if this goes on to a 5v5, all Sovereign has to do is pop the Kai'Sa and they practically win the fight. As for KLH, there are so many threats to keep track of on the side of Sovereign. As mid lane, we're going to see a fight.
Nothing much will amount here because for KLH on this Galio, especially Vladimir with sustain, can't really amount to a kill because we don't see the Ignite being picked up by the Galio. Opt to go for more of a teleport.
Yeah, now what I want to see KLH do, I want to see them brute force this bot lane tower and get what the Jess and Azaroveki time to roam around the map, because the moment that the Alistar and the Kai'Sa have been unlocked, that's when they can start making these plays. Oh,
Prison lockdown, cleanse it away. Galio going in with the entrance. That is a successful disengage from Sovereign. And what KLH? It's not yet over. Looks like a teleport just happened here.
Here comes our
Galio stacking up. Here comes the Rakan. Oh, what a charm going in there by Sovereign. But in the end, the item spikes. The damage is just too much.
Yeah, in the end, it will be what the Jess going down as the trade for Sovereign. But Arcalic, he wasn't given a chance to pull by the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. We almost thought that it was going to be that turnaround after the teleport coming in for Sovereign, but KLH, they just instantly responded with their own counterattack.
I gotta say the items was the main factor here because we did see the Gangplank trying to go in, trying to deal damage. They did manage to pick up a kill there, but in the end, it was the Kai'Sa.
Actually, looking back, Morgan, the members of Sovereign were already out of that fight. There was already a successful disengage, both from Mexi and Kra. They really had no incentive trying to go for that teleport play. But it looks like they really do want this kill onto Caspiel.
Oh, they may just take the kill there. What a commitment coming from Sovereign.
Yeah, incredibly hard to get away, especially from the Zac, already level 9, possibly max rank on his elastic slingshot. Paired up with the flash as well. They really wanted to take down Caspiel.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because you get a bit angsty there when Caspiel is doing a lot of work for the team. Not to mention the pressure that he did in the bot lane. Immediately giving a 3-0-1 to the Kai'Sa. That's something that Sovereign is worried about.
I mean, we did say we were waiting for Ice Destiny to show up, and how else did he show up? Chase down a Sejuani. Now though, I think the first dragon of the game will go over to Sovereign unless the people from Kuala Lumpur Hunters want to respond. It is going down fairly slowly. Mountain Drake, probably the tankiest Drake in the game. It's just the support and the jungler. They're taking their time. They're taking their sweet time. But I think in the end,
tankiest Drake of the game, Chisto. So I guess it will happen. No contest from KLH. Looks like Sovereign will take away the first Drake, the Mountain Drake.
yeah,
uncontested.
Even though the kills are in favor of Kuala Lumpur Hunters, the objectives. Wait up!
He tried to escape over that wall but did not succeed.
He tried to get away,
Yeah,
he tried to get
his
away,
best.
but unfortunately that was just too much CC. But looking back, KLH, they are ahead in kills, but the objectives are going.
A steal happening from Caspiel.
Yeah, but the objectives are going toward the side of Sovereign, so unless KLH can translate the kills that they're getting into objectives, the kills really don't amount to that much value as bot lane.
Oh, again with the prison. Call in the Galio. No longer will connect. Teleport coming in from KLH. Sovereign will respond with the Vladimir going in with the ultimate. That will be the shot out onto the Kai'Sa. There comes the teleport with the Rakan, with the two-man knock-up onto the members of KLH. Sovereign not backing out just yet. They're going straight for onto the tower. That's going to be, close call. Very close call by Ice Destiny with a Zac. Did not manage to kidnap. He was able to escape with a flash. So it's KLH only surviving with two members.
Yeah, the Hunters, they pull the trigger onto Mexi, but the Xayah buys so much time for the rest of her team to collapse with the Feather Storm. And they did mention, the moment that Sovereign take down this Kai'Sa, there are no more damage threats from the side of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, and the rest of the members just clean up.
That decisive flash by RH to prevent the Zac's Let's Bounce was something that KLH needed. Instead of making a 4 casualty, just making a 3-man casualty, but Sovereign, great job responding in the bot lane.
Yeah, and look at this. This is actually KLH pulling the trigger, but the Feather Storm buys so much time. Mexi actually survives towards all of this, and the moment Arcalic arrives, he absolutely pops the Kai'Sa, and once Kai'Sa is down, there's no more damage output coming from the members of KLH, and they just need to run for the hills.
Running for the hills here, but looks like it will not happen for Shiro, he gets taken down by the members of KLH. Sovereign right now sitting at an even kill score, 6-6.
Yeah, they've evened up the kill score here, but they still do have the gold lead, even though it is just sitting around 2.9k gold. It's because of the 2 towers that they have taken down. Only the mid lane outer turret remains for Sovereign to take down, and there's already a lot of chip damage onto it. So if they do send some of the members, I think they might be able to take that down fairly soon.
And we're nearing the Baron buff here. Looks like we only have 51 seconds left on the timer.
Yeah, it looks like Sovereign, they're trying to secure the Rift Herald here before the Baron does spawn.
Oh, Gangplank. Rakan with a heal. Will they go for the engage? Alistar waiting in hot. That's the polarized combo. Going in onto the Gangplank. Permafrost will go onto the Gangplank, but not follow up the set. They are focused to deny this Rift Herald. KLH going in with the heroes at this great knock up there coming in from RH, but still it will be Sovereign fighting back with these. Vladimir, not enough damage. They committed too much to the Rift Herald. Now KLH, they are punishing Sovereign, pushing them back to their blue side of the jungle.
Yeah, they're still going, Vulcan. This fight isn't over.
Extended right now. Permafrost connecting on to the Gangplank, trying to cleanse away. Guy gets the last parlay hit. He takes down Shiro, and right now going straight in, walks into the Wings of War. Shutdown goes to our head.
Ice Destiny is still up, and the Justice Punch, I think, took down the Gangplank in the end. Man, that fight. It looks like KLH, they really wanted to stop Sovereign from taking the Rift Herald. They did get the last hit now. Ice Destiny, he's on Mission Impossible. Oh, he timed out.
The Rift Herald is timed out, but he will try and take him down with him. Passive isn't available. He has no passive up, but still a close call from the Rakan save.
Oh my god, I think Ice Destiny had the right thought there, Vulcan. He wanted to get the Rift Herald in the end because they were the team that was able to secure it. So a bit of gold goes over to their side, but luckily for the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, there will be no summoning the Rift Herald. As we look at this fight, Arakel gets absolutely destroyed the moment he goes in here. All of the focus went onto him because the Galio taunted the Vladimir. There was no more way for him to pull. And now for KLH, they want to deny Sovereign from getting the Rift Herald buff onto their side. That's why they continue going for this fight. Man, there's a lot of back and forth here, but look at the Justice Punch here. Look at the Justice Punch.
Oh, just faced up before. You could see that Justice Punch.
I actually want to correct this. It was actually the Winds of War that took down Shinsekai during that fight. It was just so chaotic I couldn't keep up. But man, in the end, I do believe that was an exchange in favor of Sovereign. Now though, it's 21 minutes into the game. Baron is on the table. We're gonna see a fight.
Cleanse out, but the Rakan survives that also. Oh, Ice Destiny! Is he gonna do something? Is he gonna do it? But it will be Crown taking away the kill with the knockoff from the Rakan.
Yeah, Ice Destiny, he did something right there, and he led his team to catch out the guys. He's still going.
Going for the dive. Pulverize is there to try and knock him up to the air. Looks like Sovereign pushing back. KLH.
Yeah, even though they did secure the Rift Herald, they're confident to push down this mid lane because there are no threats onto their comp. Ice Destiny, even though he wasn't the factor during the early laning phase, now in the mid game, he's popping off on Zac.
Closing it up to the game here. Near the 23-minute mark. Next Drake will be live in right now, actually. Go straight for it.
I want to just hop on
the Ocean Drake.
Of course, I think Sovereign will be able to secure this Drake. Kuala Lumpur Hunters have been a bit lost here. They have been picking up kills, but they haven't really translated them into any major objectives on the map. It's been Sovereign that have been securing both the towers and the dragon. There are already 4 towers onto the name of Sovereign, whereas KLH have only secured 1 for this game.
Looks like the objective-wise is going to Sovereign, getting the 2 Drake stacks and then 4 turrets under the scoreboard. You can see right there, kill score is 9-9. Still it's anyone's game, but it all comes down to who takes the Baron. And we saw it before in our first games, in game 3, how the Baron was able to change everything.
Yeah, and looking at this game, Vulcan, you'd think that KLH, even though they were ahead with Azora Veki's Kai'Sa early, they haven't been able to use the fact that she did have a lead. They weren't able to translate that lead into anything, as they are setting up a death bush in the top lane. I don't think anybody would want to face check here though.
They're pinging, so they know what's up here.
Do they know?
They know. They were pings right here and there. That's why they were not moving forward.
Okay, that was wise by KLH to actually back off because Ice Destiny, he was there to counter when the engage did happen. Now both teams, you see how all of them are nearing around the Baron pit. This might be the pivotal part of this game where whichever team secures the Baron really breaks this game wide open.
24 minutes into the timer. Let's see. Will the game break wide open as Sovereign making their preparation for the Baron vault?
There are a few things that are of note here. Shiro has not had the best time on the Shen. He is behind quite a bit of CS compared to his matchup. Shinsekai on this Gangplank already has 2 items completed compared to the Shen only has a Titanic Hydra. And it's only really to match the clear of the Gangplank. So Shiro on the Shen really not applying that much pressure aside from the fact that he does have Stand United available.
He will just split push the waves here with his Titanic Hydra. And he does have the Stand United available, plus the teleport.
I mean, it is Shen's job to split push Vulcan, but given the fact that he really can't duel Shinsekai in a 1v1, it's going to be very difficult for him to apply the pressure that his team needs if they want to set up for these plays.
25 minutes closing into the game. Baron is still the eye of everyone here.
Yeah, so far though, Sovereign have more control around that area. The control ward in the pit belongs to the blue side. That means that if Sovereign do decide to start the Baron, Kuala Lumpur Hunters will not see them start it. They've sent Arikelik towards the bot side, but the Vladimir does not have his teleport. So if a fight does break out, that means that KLH's members will be the first to head on to the Baron area. Arikelik though, he can't stay that far away because he doesn't have teleport.
They have to be very careful of this Vladimir. He's scaling up to the late game here. Look at the amount of cooldown reduction it has. Can spam that E all day, every day. So KLH has to be careful when committing to a fight. Because they're all about taking risks. They have an Alistar. They have a Kai'Sa. All about one way to get in and try and go for the commitment. They even have to pair it up with the Galio.
Yeah, but what the Jess, after that barrel from the Gangplank, he has to recall. There are already 3 items onto Shinsekai, only 25 minutes into this game. And this is a very scary situation if you're Kuala Lumpur Hunters, as we saw Glacial Prison being traded for the cooldown of Featherstorm. So that's one big ultimate gone from the Hunters if they do want to start a fight.
Ooh, looks like the Baron is really being the eye here for all the teams here.
Yeah, they're really fighting over this vision, and it's really interesting because we haven't seen that many Baron dances throughout the GPL. I think majority of these games, but wait up.
Send things up. Nothing happened just yet. Gets bumped by the Justice Punch. Here comes what the Jess pushing back. Cannon Barrage was used. They're going in onto the Alistar. Forced to flash away. Close call there.
Will they go for more though? That's only the flashes burned for both the mid laner and support of KLH. Will Sovereign go for the Baron play here? They can definitely go for this because KLH will have no idea that they started this. They're forcing Kuala Lumpur Hunters to head onto a face check. They're really taking their time here.
They're trying to take a precaution, not going for any risk here because Sovereign, they're trying their best to go for a Baron that has no risk. And I guess after clearing that ward, they will go straight for the Baron.
Yeah,
Prison was used by the Sejuani, going on to the Zaya. Sovereign backing away. That was very low. And Ozora Veki takes on Mexi. 2 members versus 3. Can they survive? Yes. They have the response from the Galio. Comes in hot. Cleanse has been used by the Rakan. Still gets knocked down by the Galio. That's going to be another lockdown again. Coming from KLH. Zoning out the Rakan and the Gangplank. They're trying to form themselves here. Vladimir goes in with a flash. Tries to go for the cleanup. Fails.
Yeah, they can possibly go for more if they're able to lock down Crowd, but in the end, what the Jess was the MVP of that fight. He prevented Arikelik from diving towards the backline, using his headbutt to zone away the Vladimir, and I think 5 members strong. Now Kuala Lumpur Hunters, they're taking the Baron.
8 minutes into the game, the Baron is being contested by SVR. KLH, what can he do? Cannon Barrage! Oh, Sejuani, KL has to be very careful.
Oh, they're so low!
They're trying to buy time. The Baron is doing the chip damage. Can they go for the Baron? They take the Baron, but can they get away here? No, the cannon damage, the barrel damage was just too much. Takes down Caspiel.
Yeah, Caspiel in the end will be the sacrifice for that Baron. And Shinsekai, he wants to get some exit kills here.
Oh god, they're trying to get away.
Just recall.
Oh, careful, careful, careful. 1Q, and that will be Mexi taking him down. 2 members were cleaned up from that fight.
Okay, so that will be 3 out of 5 members of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters with the Baron buff. Now the question is, can they make use of this Baron? They can set up for sieges here, but the key will be they need to protect Ozaroveki from going down, because the moment Kai'Sa goes down, if Sovereign are able to find an engage while KLH still has this Baron, they might be able to stop the push. Because regardless of the Baron buff, I still think Sovereign can look for fights. As Ocean Drake will be secured by the Singaporean squad, the 3rd Drake of the game so far. KLH really not paying that much attention towards that objective.
So I guess for Sovereign, they're trying their best to go in for the objectives. Let's see, they have a good score. I mean, 3 Drakes, 4 turrets. The Baron though has fallen to the hands of KLH for that rather reckless contest by Sovereign. I gotta say, the Xayah was caught out in the top lane.
And as we progress through the mid-game, Vulcan, I really like how both teams are really going back and forth. This game is still fairly even though the gold lead is in favor a bit of Sovereign. I think majority of that gold is just focused towards Shinsekai's gangplank because of the fact that he does have the Kleptomancy. But looking at KLH, you do also have Fed members to match that gangplank. Ozaroveki, he did get a catch. Will he die for this? Nope, I don't think so.
Nothing's happening here, so I guess they're just feeding each other out here.
I mean, Sovereign are trying to burn as much time away from the Baron, just stall the push from happening. KLH though, they can choose to start a fight if they're confident enough. Looks like the Baron won't be amounting to anything yet. Still good though for Kuala Lumpur Hunters that they were able to secure the Baron, because had that gone over to Sovereign's side, that could have spelled the end of the game for them.
Definitely, because for KLH, they have to be very careful using the Baron buff in their favor to push up the remaining lanes, because they only have 1 turret. Mind you guys, they only have 1 turret. So that'll be the 2nd turret in. Gotta goes in with the entrance. Kind of Mirage will manage to slow things down, but not in the end will help him survive. That's a double kill for Veki.
Yeah, and that will definitely lead to towers for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Ozaroveki isn't afraid to go in because he knows he has the support of his team. The hero's entrance provides enough damage reduction for the Kai'Sa to survive the damage coming out from the gangplank. And even then, there was still Stand United available from the Shen to assist him. Now, I think with this push, KLH might break open the base.
They can't be too greedy.
All they need to do is keep Arakelik away from Ozaroveki and they should be fine.
Yamaton looks like the Rakan will go in with a knockup of 2. RH, no commitment there coming from SVR. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, that will be the Shen pushing the waves in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shiro's just right-clicking the tower and then looking at the rest of his teammates, because there's still that get out of jail free card with the Stand United. If Arakelik chooses to dive towards Ozaroveki, he has to keep in mind that there's still that Shen ultimate available to protect that AD carry.
32 minutes into the game. This is exciting for KLH, because when they are talking about the Kai'Sa they picked here, it just goes to show how much fun they're having here, but for Sovereign. Picking up the Xayah and Rakan duo combo, it just goes to show they're determined to try and take away 1 point. They need that point here because they want to at least end it on a good standing, at least deny KLH for getting a better seeding.
Yeah, and earlier we saw Sovereign, they had the more towers taken from KLH. It was 4-1, but just after that Baron secure by the Hunters, it looks like now they have the lead when it comes to towers being taken off from the map. So I think now KLH is going to try and siege towards the mid lane and just split push with the Shen. They're going to go back to what has been working for them so far. And if Ozaroveki can possibly go for a catch again, he won't be afraid to go for these engages because he does have the support of the Galio and the Shen. Things have been fairly slow here, Vulcan. Just have to face it. Hesitation? It could be amounted to hesitation, and it's also, I think, Sovereign just playing a bit more passively here because they know that scaling will be in their favor. they do know that both Shinsekai and Arikelik on Gangplank and Vladimir will be
Oh, he
extremely
catches
threatening.
it! And Becky goes in. Oh, that long range caught that Gangplank by surprise. Did you see the shot? The snipe from Becky setting everything up here. And just coming in hot. Sober, two-member, get taunted. Oh, wings of force, so much damage. Oh, Rakan, it was an escape. Close call, but Becky again with the snipe gets a triple, an official triple there. What an engage coming from KLH.
Yeah, and it did mention KLH would want to get a catch. What a perfect catch onto the most fed member of Sovereign. Zarveki, he isn't afraid to go in front of a fed Gangplank because he knows that he has the support of his team. Now KLH will be trying to chunk down this mid lane tier 2 tower. Without the minions though, the backdoor defense bonus is available.
Not anymore, they took down the inner mid lane turret.
Oh, does he have his ultimate available? I don't think so, but yeah, if Shinsekai allows himself to get caught out constantly like that, it will really hinder Sovereign's chances of moving towards the late game.
So far, kill score 11 to 17.
11 to 17. Elder Drake will be the next dragon that will be spawning, and it definitely does favor Sovereign as they have secured more dragons. Baron is also spawning very soon. KLH, if they want to close this game out, they're gonna want to secure that objective. As for Sovereign, they definitely want to deny that.
They're setting things up here. Interesting. 7 seconds for the Elder timer.
Here we go. Do KLH want to immediately go for this? I do think KLH can just opt to start this dragon and then try to bait Sovereign into a losing fight. But they still need to be very careful of the Zack engage.
Oh, Todd has connected there. Immediately gets punched there by Becky. There's the prison. Has the passive. No! Becky is godlike under the Elder Drake area. They will go mayhem there. Cannon Barrage is there for that slope. What a damage! Zion, one bird finish them in and out. That is going to clean up the fight.
Yeah, but look at the wombo combo response by Sovereign. I did mention that they have a lot of AoE, a lot of backline threat. What are they going for? Elder Drake was free. Are they gonna try and go for the end? It's still 40 seconds onto the members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters. It's just the Shen to defend. How much can Shiro do here? It looks like Sovereign, they want to go for the game.
They want to end it right now, right after the mistake at the Elder Drake pit. They have to clear, they have to damage. Trial by fire.
Oh my god.
True damage.
They can do this.
The Gangplank with a final stand by Shiro. Timer left. Oh,
that's the game.
That's game set.
Looks like Sovereign will be coming from behind for this match. Just one team fight win for them. They have to destroy Kuala Lumpur Hunters, and the Nexus will go down very soon. Man, Sovereign, in a blink of an eye, ends the game 36 minutes in versus Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Congratulations to Sovereign for winning their last game in the group stages.
That ended in a snap. Elder Drake looked like it was a free objective for Sovereign, but the game was way more valuable compared to that Elder Dragon. And man, just the decisiveness from all of the members of Sovereign to immediately go for that. The death timers suddenly got a bit too long for KLH to manage, and in the end it was Sovereign coming out on top.
It became huge actually. So I guess one mistake can change everything in the rip.
Yeah, and so congratulations to Sovereign for securing that match, and I guess that will conclude the final game for today.
As we move on to the playoffs, here is the run-on of the standings.
Yeah, of course, this is very interesting because we see two ties here. There's a tie for first spot and then a tie for the third and fourth spot. So as far as seeding goes, it's still up in the air for me who gets to face who as we head onto the playoffs. But yeah, the top four teams will move on. Unfortunately for Bigatron Esports, the road to MSI did end earlier today. But as for the rest of the teams, they have a chance this Saturday and Sunday.
And this concludes the group stages for the Green Premier League Spring Season 2018. As we move on to the playoff stage, things will get more intense as the road to MSI is getting closer and closer to an end. Congratulations to Sovereign, Kuala Lumpur Hunters, Mineski, and Ascension Gaming for moving on to the playoff spot.
And after the conclusion of this game, what interests me is everyone can take on everyone because The games look very, very even, Vulcan, and it looks like this will be an incredibly competitive GPL playoffs.
So I guess we'll be signing off for now. See you on Saturday for the continuation of the Garena Premier League Spring Season 2018.